What's good, all my stock market homies? In today's video, we're going to be talking about 3 new positions that I've added to the small account challenge, baby. It's not a small account anymore. We're up north of $34,000 in the small account, but I've added 3 more longer-term positions that I think are about to skyrocket, and we're going to be taking a hard look at these stocks in today's video. We're going to be talking about all the top stocks right now that I think have a lot of potential. We are still in a pullback, and there are still a lot of good stocks trading at discounted price points. There are a lot of 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10xers out there right now flying under the radar after these huge sell-offs in growth sectors. So we're going to be putting our binoculars on, and we're going to be looking at these companies. How can we exploit them and make some money long-term off of them? Let's break it down. Let's get it. But before we get started, everybody do me a favor. The like button has been talking hella-ish, and we need to destroy it. Because remember, the like button is not our friend. So take your 2 fingers and snake eye jab that like button. We need to destroy the like button once and for all. We saw growth stocks bounce back today in the overall market. EV had a pretty good day. Solar had a really nice day. And we have an infrastructure bill coming to Congress that we need to talk about. 4 trillion reasons why we need to talk about it. This is greatly going to impact EV and solar, as I fully expect EV and solar to have a huge presence in this infrastructure bill. Let's break it down. Let's get it. All right, trader homies, I got that small account pulled up. We're going to be going over 3 new positions that I just added. We're going to be going over the infrastructure bill and why it's so important that we keep an eye on the infrastructure bill, because it's going to have direct implications on the stock market and our positions. I thought it was interesting up here. This yellow line is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The blue line is my performance versus the Dow Jones. So we can see that my portfolio over the last month has been extremely choppy and has underperformed the overall market. Why is that? Because I'm heavily invested in growth stocks. I'm heavily invested in EV, solar, in these new emerging markets. And from a short-term perspective, yes, these are going to be more volatile. This type of investment is going to be more volatile. But let's back it off over the last 6 months, and I've beaten the Dow Jones by over 200%. Investing in growth stocks does work if you can pinpoint those good deals and exploit the inefficiencies in the stock market, and that's exactly what we're doing. And I think I've found 3 new stocks that are priced. The first one that I want to talk about is actually one that we discussed in the previous video, the last video that we did. This is TLRY. So I'm not going to go too much into depth on it, but TLRY is an MJ stock. We all know that I like MJ because I think the sector is about to explode. Congress really hasn't had a chance to get any legislation going on federally legalizing MJ because they've been caught up in the inauguration and getting just their feet on the ground. But I do fully expect Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, to press forward with trying to get MJ legalized. And this leads me into the infrastructure bill, right? We have a $4 trillion infrastructure bill that is supposed to be coming up here shortly. And how is that going to be paid for? Either taxes raised, or you could probably pay for the whole thing in the next decade by just federally legalizing MJ. The government is going to really take a hard look at, right? You legalize, you tax it, you pay for whatever you want to do infrastructure-wise. So this all kind of ties in together. But we bought TLRY yesterday. It's doing really good today, up at the highs of about 10% on the day. We have since retreated a little bit, pulled back a little bit, but we're currently trading over this 9 EMA, the blue line, and I think this area holds support, and this could be a $40 stock within the next couple of months. Like I said, we discussed it last video, so if you want to check that video out, where I go over a few stocks that I like as well, that will be right up there in that card. The next stock I want to break down is PLTR, ticker PLTR. This is PLTR. This is not a stock that I was going to chase. I've had interest in this company for a while, but you guys know me. My motto, and I stick by my motto, buy the dip, sell the rip, has been ripping over the last year. We did have a nice bull flag form back here, and I missed it, and I regret it. But we are at really nice prices right now, trading at $24, less than $24 a share. I bought 200 shares today at $22.98 average, and I think this is a really good 5 to 6 year hold. I think this is a 7, 8, 9, 10xer over the next 5 years. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to hold your positions that long. A 5-year hold, that's a good time frame, but I even like it from a short-term swing trade perspective as well. You have support down here at $20.50, and you look for this to bounce back towards $30 per share. But I am in this one for the long term. This is the James Bond of the tech sector. They are doing some crazy stuff with their Gotham software. The technology is breaking, cutting edge, innovative, disruptive. We love that innovative, disruptive tech, and Palantir is on the cutting edge of just that. So I'm taking a starter position here on Palantir. If we pull back further, I will continue to add and build that position up. Another buy the dip stock. Buy that dip, sell that rip. We sell once it's landed on the moon. FUBO TV, ticker FUBO. This is one that we've talked about on the channel, but I had never pulled the trigger on it, and we got a really nice discounted price point on our entry today in the private Discord chat. If you want to join up, come trade with me, get my buy and sell alerts in real time. That will be the first link in the description. FUBO TV, this is an online TV streaming service. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Cord cutting is happening. It's in full effect. Cable companies are in big trouble. We see the middleman getting cut out with these TV streaming services. Cable is a dying thing. However, FUBO TV is their online TV streaming. If you still want your ESPNs, if you still want your news networks, you can get that via FUBO. And I absolutely love what they're doing by getting involved in the sports betting industry. We have seen stocks like DraftKings, MGM, Penn National Gaming absolutely blast off and go to the moon. FUBO TV recognizes that the sports betting industry, it's there, it's happening. States are legalizing every single day. Why not use your platform that you already have and build off of that and get your feet in the sports betting industry? So imagine this. You are watching a football game on your FUBO TV streaming service. You have ESPN on. You think the Atlanta Falcons, I live in Atlanta, let's say the Atlanta Falcons are playing the Dallas Cowboys. If you want to bet on the Atlanta Falcons, you don't even have to leave your living room. You don't have to get off the couch. You pick up your remote and you place that bet via FUBO TV streaming service. It is going to be all in one. That's my vision. I have not heard anything about them adding that to their streaming service, but they have came out with PRs saying that they're getting involved in the sports betting industry. I have 100 shares as of today, opened up the position, and we're currently trading at $22 per share. So we are in at an average price of $22.20, and I will be looking for this thing to either just rocket ship, and if it doesn't, if it wants to pull back further, I will add if it continues to drop and build that position, because I only have a starter position of 100 shares. What I like to do is I like to build my positions. I don't like to throw everything I have at a stock just because I think it's cheap, because remember, the stock market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. Even though a stock is too cheap, doesn't mean it won't continue to drop. We cannot pick the bottom. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to build that position. You think it's cheap at 22? All right, take a starter. It's really cheap at 19. Add to your position. It keeps dropping at 15. You take one more final add. Finally, you get that bounce and you have a nice average cost, and it goes to the moon. That's the plan, and I fully expect that to happen here with FUBO TV. All right, a couple ads. We added to HYLN. The big green monster has not been a green monster over the last couple of months. However, I still completely am in love, head over heels, with HYLN from a long-term perspective. It sucks to hold through this drop, but here's the deal. Nothing's changed. Ask yourself, what has changed with HYLN? Do you still think it has potential to be really big in the Class 8 trucking industry? Can they use that and build and grow off of it? I absolutely believe that. From a fundamental perspective, HYLN is the same company that it was when it was trading up at $60 a share. The only difference today is that it's trading at $10.60 per share. So we're getting the opportunity to look at HYLN from a massive discounted price, and I have 700 shares currently at $13.07, my biggest position in this small account. So HYLN, you guys know that I think it's going to be the bridge from diesel Class 8 semi-trucks to total electric Class 8 semi-trucks. It's not going to happen overnight. In order for this stock to go up, we're going to need to see increased revenues. We're going to need to see them beating delivery numbers, and that's going to take a while. So if you're looking for immediate results, instant gratification, this HYLN is probably not going to be for you, but this is my highest conviction long-term stock right now, and I'm sticking to my guns on this one. Infrastructure bill and its implications on the stock market, and what stocks could benefit directly from this infrastructure bill. So President Joe Biden has introduced his $2 trillion infrastructure plan. So originally I heard numbers of $4 trillion. Now it's coming out that it may be $2 trillion. We'll have to wait and see what the exact dollar amount is going to be. But that is a wide spread. That is a spread of $2 trillion. Maybe he started out with $4 trillion and he's trying to negotiate it down to $2 trillion. We'll have to wait and see. But some of the main bullet points here, they're going to be focusing on transportation infrastructure.
Transportation infrastructure.
What the hell do we think that means? Do you think there's going to be EV charging stations involved? I do. Do you think that means they're going to be switching over the government fleet to total EV? Well, he already said he's going to do that. So I think this infrastructure bill is going to be huge for EV, and EV needs it. It has been absolutely crushed over the last couple of weeks. So I think this is really good for the EV stocks that have been beaten down. Water systems, broadband, and manufacturing, among other goals. Even if it's just mentioned in there and they're giving a few $1 billion to beef up the solar grid here in the US, it's a really good look for solar. And we'll talk about some solar stocks that I like in just a second. But this is also going to be increasing the corporate tax rate to 28%. So we're going from 21%, where we're at right now, corporate tax rate, to 28%. That's a 7% leap, and that is not good for the stock market. But what we have to weigh is we have an increase of the corporate tax rate by 7% versus $2 trillion being flooded into the economy. So on a normal day, if somebody said the corporate tax rate's about to go up by 7%, that would be a bad thing. But because the economy is getting injected with $2 trillion, I think they kind of offset, and we'll have to see what happens long term with this tax hike. We will start to see what the tax hike is doing to these companies over the next few quarters as companies release earnings reports once the bill's passed. If the tax hike is really going to damage them, that will become evident via earnings reports. So $621 billion of the bill is going into transportation, infrastructure, bridges, roads, public transit, ports, airports, and here's the key word, electric vehicle development. Okay, we have seen the EV sector crash and burn, but we are getting injected with billions of dollars. These stocks are trading at massive discounts. I am going to be loading the boat over the next couple of weeks on these EV stocks, even more so than I already have, because this is going unnoticed. This is stupid. Why were these stocks trading 4 times higher a month ago when this infrastructure bill is about to come out? It makes no sense. So the White House plans to fund the spending by raising the corporate tax rate to 28%. And remember, Republicans had cut that tax rate from 35% to 21%. So he's kind of meeting in the middle with that 28% tax hike. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I don't think it's a killer for these companies either. It's still less taxes than they were paying before under Obama's administration. So I think this infrastructure bill, let's go back to the charts and I'll talk about some of the companies that I'm going to be targeting that I think will benefit from this bill. We already know that I like HYLN. We already know that I think XL Fleet's too cheap. I think this ACTC, which is going to be merging with Proterra. Proterra has the Secretary of Energy on the board of directors. They manufacture that big EV bus, and I think it is going to be a company that is kind of going under the radar, but will be one of the big players in EV for years to come. And not just common consumer EV, but mass public transportation, school buses, that type of thing as well. So Proterra, we had a really nice day here today, up from 16 area all the way up to over $18 today. We have a really nice area of support down here around 15. So I'll be looking for this thing to maybe pull back into that support before I initiate a position. I am currently not in Proterra right now. This is one that I do have a position in. I have 100 shares at $13.50. And we bought this a while ago in the private Discord chat. SunW, a pure solar play. I'll be looking for the infrastructure bill to have solar pop, the entire solar sector to pop once this bill goes through. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Hope you got something of value from it. If you did, do me a solid and hit that like button for me. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bells. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace.